This right here is called a swing shirt, and according to its manufacturers, it's designed to help average golfers just like me to fix a whole range of swing flaws that PGA professionals see on their lesson bay every single day. So if you're watching this and you're the type of golfer who maybe is a little bit too armsy in your swing and not using those big muscles to generate as much power and distance as you'd like, perhaps you collapse your arms at the top of your backswing or in transition and get a little bit too narrow in your swing, or if like me, your trail elbow wants to take over a little bit and sometimes steepens that shaft, causing you to slice it, or perhaps early extend in the downswing, this swing shirt could potentially help fix some of those flaws. Now, hi, I'm Luke, welcome to Weekend Tour Pros. I'm an average swing speed mid-handicap golfer, and I therefore think I'm a really good person to test this swing shirt and try and see if I can give you some relevant content to help you make your buying decision. Now, what we're going to do in this video is we'll start by talking a little bit about the shirt, how it's designed, the quality of it, and we'll address that elephant in the room that it does look a little bit silly when you're wearing it and whether or not you'd get over that embarrassment of wearing it at the driving range. We'll then benchmark some data of how my swing looks today before I put the shirt on. We'll then hit a bunch of shots with me wearing the shirt. I'll talk you through how it feels at the time, how I feel like it's impacting my swing, and the immediate first impressions from the data we're seeing behind us. And then we'll take the shirt off and see if I'm able to replicate those feels and deliver some improvements to my golf game from wearing this shirt. All the while we're doing that, we'll have TrackMan running in the background, capturing some data for us, and we'll take a deep dive into all of that data at the end to see the true impact of using this swing shirt has had on my golf game beyond just the feelings that I'm having in the bay. Right, so let's start by telling you a little bit about the swing shirt. When mine came through in the post, I literally had the swing shirt in a bag and a one-page instruction guide of how to put it on and some recommendations and tips to think about when you're using it. In terms of the price point, it was £59.95 when I purchased it, which I do think is a little bit steep, but I always say this with training aids, you're not paying for the cost of the product, you're paying for the benefit of the improvement. Now, if this really makes a substantial change to your golf game, it will definitely be the best £60 or equivalent in dollars that you ever pay to improve your golf game. And from the videos that I've seen online, everyone that's tried this shirt has spoke really positively about it, so I'm keen to see if I get some positive feedback from wearing it as well. Final thing to talk about is it does come in a variety of sizes, and the sizing is based on your weight. Now, for me personally, I was right on the cusp between a small and a medium, and I did choose to opt for the medium, but I do think if I'd maybe gone for the small one, it might restrict me even more, and that could have been potentially a benefit, and it's maybe something for me to consider, or for you to consider. If you are right on the cusp between one size and the other, maybe go for the smaller one, because it maybe will restrict you even more and help you even further. So how do you put this device on? Well, it's quite simple. You just put it on as if you're wearing a vest. And I've got to hope that it doesn't muffle my mic and ruin the sound on this little bit here. Now, hopefully on first impressions, just as I'm putting it on, it doesn't look as silly as maybe you'd first think. Again, maybe because I have got that black shirt on underneath it all. But what you do when you use the shirt, this is when it does look a little bit silly, is you put your arms in here and you put them through this second hole. And as you can see now, it starts to look a little bit silly. What I'm going to do is just grab a golf club. Now, where this training aid is designed to help is, as you take that backswing here, I can't get my body and my arms disconnected from each other. They really want to stay together with this swing shirt on, and it really does want to keep them together. And I am filming this kind of introduction bit at the end of my video, and I can actually feel in my forearms I'm using different muscles to what I'm used to over the last 20 or 30 minutes when I was hitting shots with it. What also happens is it encourages you to keep that width on the way back and keep those arms straight out in front of you, and stop them from collapsing like this. You can still feel it, but it was a really noticeable feel if I did collapse them a little bit when I was hitting some shots. And the final thing that it really does help with, if I just turn this way here, is it stops me wanting to do this in transition. It really did feel like as I was transitioning, my elbows were pinching together and keeping a little bit more of a shallowing motion on the golf club. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to start hitting some shots by using the swing shirt on. I'm going to use a pitching wedge for the whole video today, because I always recommend, again, especially when you're trying a new training aid for the first time, start with something like a wedge and just get familiar and used to it, and then work your way up through the bag. Now, what I did do before I started filming the video is I did benchmark some data using a pitching wedge before I started wearing the swing shirt, and I guess you can see that in the background right now, and I'll talk you through that TrackMan data in a minute and how it compares to the data you're about to see with me using the swing shirt. Right, let's start hitting some shots. I'm going to start though by just trying to hit a few sort of smaller swings just to get used to the feel of the shirt and how it does restrict me. That was interesting, because one of the things that I struggle with is I struggle to try and not overswing, and that was quite easy. It almost felt restrictive and stopping me from overswinging, albeit I was trying to hit, like I say, a 3/4 punch shot. And one of the things that you'll see is my tendency at the moment is to deliver a path that is ever so slightly out to the left, but I absolutely massively shut the face down. So that's the key thing I'm trying to see if I can address. It does feel exactly as you would expect. It's quite restrictive. It really does feel like it's pinching my arms together on the way back, which is an interesting feel, and it's obviously giving me a feel. The key thing will be here at the end is what happens when we take this off. Oh, I fell forward there. Interestingly though, again, it felt like it was quite a good strike. Look at that, my face angle. This is the first time I think I've had the face open on TrackMan for, well, forever really, it feels like. And that is interesting. And that one there, I've just obviously hit it a little bit harder. We're up to 108 carry already. I don't really feel like I'm actually trying to hit it hard. And that obviously does say to me there must be a little bit more body movement and rotation in the swing versus what I'm used to delivering with my own swing. That one felt nice. Straight away though, look at that. My carry distance is always already up to where I am with good shots with my own swing. Like I say, I feel like I'm just hitting sort of chippy ones at the moment still. It's quite interesting this. You're seeing my first few shots with it. Obviously, I'm now hitting from, with my own swing, hitting them out to the right-hand side with, like I said, that pull draw to straight away now. I'm actually delivering them with the path still to the left, but the face has opened up as well. Push that one out to the left. I'm just going to take my arm out of it a second just to demo for you. So what I feel like is happening to me is on my normal swing, what's happening is as I'm coming up, this elbow, my left elbow, because I'm very left side dominant, so this elbow probably does want to come away either in transition and steepen the club, or it just doesn't want to stay as close to this elbow in my backswing. And it really does feel like the main bit I can feel is maybe to about here it feels okay. And then as I kind of carry on from there, it really does feel like it's keeping this part of my arms just stuck together a little bit more. And then it does really feel like I have to turn and rotate through the golf ball. So I do feel like it is actually helping and it is restricting me. That's the first one I've flushed, and that ball speed is as good as anything I can do. And we're hitting a baby draw that's gone 122.5 yards. This thing might be the training aid for me. And this goes back to that point we were just making a few minutes ago about the price. If actually it helps improve your game, and it's something that you can hit 50, 60 balls with a week, and it really gives you that feel that you can take out and then replicate on the golf course, it's worth the money. You're not paying for how much it costs to make, you're paying for the improvement it can deliver to your golf game. Look at that though, my face angle. I'm certainly not flipping the hands over at it like I normally do, right? I'm quite the opposite now. I'm probably suffering, if anything now, from a lack of rotation through the golf ball because I'm not used to being able to do that because of where my face is. Now interestingly, I really tried on that one to rotate through on the downswing rather than hanging back and flipping it over like I have that tendency to do, and really try to get my chest sort of facing towards the target, and we have managed to straighten it up a little bit. I'm quite impressed. As you can see, like trying to get the ball back into position each time, it looks a little bit ridiculous without sort of taking my arms out. And I do feel really silly, like I'm not going to lie and say that I feel like this is the most coolest thing I've ever done in the world, but I think the results are there. Oh my God, that's the best one yet. I just can't believe how neutral everything is there. Carrying at 117, the strike felt awesome. Another one that's really good. I've actually managed to close the face ever so slightly and deliver that perfect baby draw that I want. Right, I think that's a really interesting point now to take the shirt off, update the TrackMan and just see what happens. First shot, what can I do with it? Can I replicate that feel? Really felt different to how I would normally swing it. Interestingly, a little bit like the ones with the swing shirt, I've actually delivered the face open. Definitely felt a little bit more connected, definitely felt like these two arms stayed closer together there. Another one where path and face are quite neutral, but just that face is a little bit open again. That one felt really good. Probably the best one since I've taken the shirt off, but I have closed that face down a little bit. Not as good as strike, but that is incredibly neutral. That is the best one since I've taken the shirt off. Club path and face, almost zero. Carrying at 119. Certainly not my best one, but again, to see the face go out that way, and for me to say it's not my best one, it's still carry 117, is pretty damn good. Now what I think I would do, just based on the experience I've had here in the last sort of 15-20 minutes, is I think I would hit 10 or 20 with the swing shirt, take it off, hit 10 or 20 without it, put it back on and repeat that, because now I'm starting to feel like I'm losing that feel just a little bit. Would want to put it back on, get that feel back, take it back off. I do think one of the most important things with a training aid is that you can try and replicate the feel without it, and you've got to hit balls without it as part of that process as well. Otherwise you get used to the constraint, and then as soon as you take it off and get out on the golf course, you have no muscle memory without it to try and implement it and try and improve that swing. Now what we're going to do now is, like I said, I've been capturing some TrackMan data all the way through. I know I've called out a few of the numbers as we've gone, but I just want to show you the data from those shots that I hit before putting it on, some of the shots while we were wearing it, and how it's changed my swing after it. So let's just go through that data now. So as you'll see from the footnote at the bottom, the data you are seeing is from all shots that I hit except for the first two after putting the swing shirt on. This is because I was swinging slowly to try and get used to having the shirt on, and including those two numbers would unfairly skew all three data sets. Now whilst the shirt did have an impact on a lot of my TrackMan numbers, the swing flaw that I was hoping it would help me with is that tendency to flip my hands at impact, shutting the face down quite drastically. So the key bits of data for me to investigate were the impact the shirt had on my club path, face angle, and that face to path relationship. As you can see, during and after using the swing shirt, my face angle changed quite significantly, from before when I was flipping my hands and closing the face down by 3.6 degrees, to opening the face by 2.6 degrees during use, and then ending up somewhere in the middle after taking the shirt off. Next up, regular viewers of the channel will know that I always talk about being a low spin player, and therefore it was also interesting to see that by having a slightly open club face, I was able to increase my spin rate by about 500 RPM from before to after, which was definitely a bonus for me, especially if I was to see the same pattern through the rest of the bag. I did also look at the TrackMan data from all of my ball flights and was impressed to see that launch angles, peak heights and land angles all went up by a couple of degrees too, which again, as someone always looking to strengthen their ball flight, was pleasing to see. My shallow angle of attack also improved slightly from 1.6 degrees down to 2.8 degrees down as well. Finally, as you can see from the shot dispersion, at the beginning I was hitting those pull draws, and then after putting the shirt on they changed to slight pushes and slight push cuts, and then afterwards, after taking it off, although I was more inconsistent, I did have less extreme misses both left or right. It's also worth noting these data sets are from roughly a dozen shots in each part of the test, and I'm confident with more time using the swing shirt, my dispersion pattern after taking the shirt off would be a lot tighter and somewhere in the middle as well. So my final thoughts on the swing shirt training aid is I think it's a really good example of a golf training aid. It does deliver that instantaneous feedback while you're wearing it to give you some new feels, and as we saw from the TrackMan data, it did make some real changes to my numbers in the space of 20 to 30 minutes, and I'm confident if I used a training aid like this regularly, I would see some improvements in my golf game. Now before you all rush out and spend your money on buying the swing shirt, I just want to offer a couple of counterpoints to help you make sure this is the right training aid for you. Now first up, the category of training aid the swing shirt falls into, there are lots of alternatives in that space, and many of them are cheaper than the swing shirt, but they don't offer as much restriction when you're swinging the golf club. Now you might find that one of those cheaper alternatives is better for you, and the good news is I've got a review of one of those alternatives landing on my channel in the next couple of weeks, so make sure you stay tuned, and maybe that can help you even further with your buying decision. The second thing to call out, and I did touch on this loosely in the video, is I'm just not sure how comfortable I would feel putting this out of my golf bag on a busy driving range in front of strangers. I think I'd have every intention, I'd pack it in my bag, I'd get down to the driving range, I'd do my warm up, I'd go to unzip my bag to get it out, look around, see how busy it is and think, maybe I'll save this for another day when the driving range is just a little less busy. And that ain't gonna help my golf game, and it isn't gonna help your golf game. So I'd love to hear from you in the comment section down below. Are you like me? Would you feel a little bit embarrassed wearing this? Or would you be like, nah, get over yourself, Luke. I wanna improve my golf game. I'm gonna wear the swing shirt on the driving range. Please do tell me. Also in the comments section, I'd love to hear from you if there's any other training aids that you'd love to see me review on the channel. As we go into the winter period, it's a really good time to be working on our golf games, making those changes. So now's a great time to be purchasing those training aids, and I'd love to help you out by reviewing a few products for you before you spend your hard-earned money. All's left for me to say is if you like the video, please do smash that thumbs up button. It really does help golfers like you to find my videos on YouTube. And if you're not yet following Weekend Tour Pros, where have you been? Hit that button down below, ring the bell icon, and you'll get notified of all my videos as they land on YouTube every single week. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Goodbye.